The Stampeders and Saskatchewan Roughriders managed to survive, but the Alouettes folded with little notice today on the eve of their scheduled opener in Toronto. Commissioner Doug Mitchell made the sobering announcement at a morning news conference.
At a hastily called news conference at CFL headquarters this morning, Commissioner Doug Mitchell announced the end of professional football in Montreal.
I'm here to report to you that the Montreal Alouettes have folded. However, it's business as usual for the Canadian Football League, and the Toronto Argonauts will host the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here on Thursday night.
It's a sad ending to a CFL franchise which was at one time one of the best. Those 1950s teams of Sam Echeverry and Hal Patterson rank at the top of the list in CFL folklore. In the 70s, when the team moved into Olympic Stadium, some of the greatest Alouette teams hit the field, winning the Grey Cup in 1977. But the franchise then hit the skids, with the team playing before tiny crowds in cavernous Olympic Stadium. They became the Concords, then the Alouettes again. The franchise has been on the edge ever since. With a season ticket base of only 4,000 and a projected loss of $3 million, President and part owner Norm Kimball pulled the plug.
We regret very much that we haven't been able to establish in the public's mind that we're worth supporting, and that's our fault, I guess.
As for the 38 players, they left the stadium in shock this morning as they wait to see if they're picked up by another team in an intra-league draft to be held Friday.
I really thought that they would at least give us a chance to play, possibly win some games, and win some fan support. This way, we went through camp, and nothing's been accomplished. You know, we busted our butts, and I thought we had a really good team coming about.
The fall of the Alouettes will mean some changes for the Stampeders, who thought they were off until next Wednesday. Stamps must now play on short notice in Edmonton Saturday and then host BC instead of Montreal here Wednesday, July 1st. The Stampeder brass met today, as did all other clubs, to hold a news conference. The consensus is the Als were a drain on the equalization pot anyway. Maybe it's best they're gone.
I think in the West, and I think we can be very competitive, and I think we, in a lot of ways, I believe that this will strengthen the league as opposed to weaken it.
I think we've waded through the worst of it, but if this league is a card house, then it will collapse. But I don't believe that for a moment. I really believe that we've waded through the worst of what this league has to wade through. And I said when we attack some of our stable of franchises, and such as this one has come through, Saskatchewan has been through it many times and had a history of survival, and I think they're really responding well there. I think that we're getting our house back in order.
'85, they set up a big marketing campaign where they did travel all amongst the smaller towns all through Quebec. They went all the way into Quebec City with about 12 players. And they really marketed the team well, I thought, but it just didn't sell tickets. And I think the only way to sell tickets in Montreal was to win, because Montreal fans are very fickle.
The Alouette collapse will affect the Blue Bombers significantly. Bombers now find themselves in the CFL East with Toronto, Hamilton, and Ottawa.
Bomber players were summoned to a morning meeting where they were informed of the news, most of them stunned by it, and by finding out they were now members of the East Division.
I think it's a shocking reaction. You hear a lot of talk about Montreal and Saskatchewan having financial problems, but you never really think it's going to come to it. You always think something's going to come around and save them. But woke up this morning and find out you're in the East. You know, it felt like I'd been traded, and then it feels weird because the whole team's being traded to the East now. So it's pretty unsettling right now, and a lot of guys are joking about it. But I think deep down everybody's going, what really is going on?
The Bombers will be the obvious benefactors of the Alouettes' demise. They will now not only be strengthened by taking part in the dispersal of Montreal players, but a contending team in the much stronger West Division. They will now be regarded solid favorites in the East.